Hi folks, I'm Melanie. My pronouns are they, them. Welcome back. This is part 2 of our 2-part series talking about the things we learned making our first features. So today I am going to go over the 3 big lessons that I took away from making my feature FSM. It's hard to believe, but the film came out 10 years ago. We shot it in 2014 and it came out in 2015. And it was an ultra low budget feature. We crowdfunded $10,000 and shot it over 12 days. So it was a very, very scrappy little film. What I'm going to talk about today is my perspective as a writer and a director, and kind of break down for you the 3 top things that I learned and that I think are useful for another filmmaker to maybe learn from. So starting with number 3, too many characters. Do not write an ultra low budget film with too many characters. This is probably one of the biggest mistakes that I made, just in terms of not understanding what that would mean for production, for scheduling, for all kinds of issues that came down the line. I did write the film intentionally as an ultra low budget film that was to be shot in my own apartment mostly, as well as like guerrilla locations and stuff because we had no money for locations. But I had 40 named characters with lines in the film. And it was a film about dating. So it made sense in the sense that, you know, you had to have a body count for like dates and bad dates and things going wrong and social, environments. For the story, it made sense, but for the production logistics, it was very, very challenging. And a sort of offshoot of that problem was casting that many people, because as an ultra low budget film, we did not have the money to pay a proper casting director. So we had to do all the casting ourselves. That meant we had to book locations, we had to run all of the auditions, we had to post all of the auditions, we had to keep track of everybody because we weren't sure if we were going to be doing UBCP. We did 2 rounds of auditions and 2 rounds of callbacks, and that was a very laborious process to do while we were also crowdfunding in pre-production, location scouting, all the other tasks. That's why you would normally pass that, job off to a casting director. We did ultimately cast all of our roles, but the biggest challenge was finding our lead. The lead character is in every single scene of the film. They have to carry the movie. And through that process of auditions and callbacks, we actually offered the role out twice and had it rejected twice by local actors. And that was really problematic. Obviously actors have their reasons for declining a role, and it's nothing against those actors, but it was very time consuming for our process to go through all of that work and doing chemistry reads and then having the person decide that the film wasn't the right fit for them. What happened was that finding our lead happened only a week before principal photography, which was obviously a very risky position to be in, being like, we're shooting in a week and we still do not have the lead, and the lead is in every scene. So like, there's nothing we can shoot without this person. However, my takeaway from this whole process, obviously, don't write 40 characters into your script. But my takeaway from this process was actually related to the sort of intuitive part of casting, because when we found Vanessa, who is the lead, I felt like we were meant to find her, that we were meant to go through all of those sort of trials and tribulations and have people say no, because she was the person we were always looking for. And the timing had to be there. There had to be this sort of like urgency and kind of weirdness in the timing to find her. And she was incredible in the role. She quit her job to be in the film because she had to be on set every single day, all day, and that was not conducive to her job. And to find somebody who not only is willing to do your indie film for nothing, but also willing to commit to that degree was actually tremendously important. So I think that's just my advice to you is trust your gut when you're casting, but also try not to have too many roles to cast. So number 2 is that problem solving is an essential skill to have, especially at low budgets. And I'm sure that might sound like, oh yeah, I've heard, that's not like new information, but I want to kind of get into the nuance of what I mean by it, because yes, to be a filmmaker, it's great to have filmmaking knowledge. It's great to understand lenses and locations and editing and coverage and acting and all that kind of stuff. But actually the thing that is going to serve you the most is your problem solving skill, because you are going to be solving problems every minute of every day that you are on set. That is actually the most essential skill, in my opinion. And the nice thing is that you have a crew. So it's not just you that is doing this, but you therefore need to be conscious of this skill set when you are bringing crew into your film. So you need to be looking for people who also have good problem solving skills. Problem solving is not just how do you pay for this? We would love for that to be the only problem in indie filmmaking, of course, but most of the time the solution is not going to be a money-oriented solution. It is going to be any number of other kinds of solutions. What else could we try? What if we change the scene? What if we change the location? Do we need that prop? Like down to the nitty-grittiest little thing, you might have to change your plan several times over in order to get your day, in order to get your scene, in order to get your shot. And that's just going to be constant. And so you can't let yourself get derailed by not having money or resources. You have to find a solution, especially when everybody's standing around you on set and you got to make decisions quickly as the director. But what I want to say about this is that your problem solving has to be very solutions oriented. You literally, if you don't have money, then all you have is time. That's your most precious resource on a low budget thing. And if you waste time going, well, we were supposed to have this, and why don't we have it, and where's so-and-so? And if you're spending all your time on the problem, you're actually wasting the only resource you do have, which is that time. So you have to be able to problem solve, but you have to do it quickly. And so you have to be very solutions oriented in that problem solving. So it can't be, why don't we have this? What if, it has to be, what if this, what if this, what if this, what if this, what if we try that? What if we try this? What if we take that out? What if we move this? What if we give that line to somebody else? Whatever it is. And this could be, an actor's late, a location falls through, a prop isn't there, whatever. One of the places that you can hone these skills is by doing 48-hour, 72-hour film festivals. They are a great place to learn how to make decisions very, very quickly because you are on a major time crunch. And also in the bonus, you get to do it while making a film. So you get to practice those skills in that environment. That is my number 2 top tip for you as an emerging filmmaker. And last but not least, my number 1 lesson that I took away from my feature is that you have to trust your vision as a director. It is a kind of interesting, nuanced, complex mix of confidence and instinct that is going to allow you to do that. Because of course, I just talked about problem solving. Of course, on indie films, on low budget films, you are going to have to compromise. That is not even a question. And compromising, it does not mean losing sight of the vision. It means answering the problems as they come up, but still being able to have your sight set on that vision and using it as your rudder and as your guiding point for every one of those little decisions that you are making throughout the day. And if you are not confident, if you are not trusting in that vision, you will allow people's criticisms, people's negativity. Those things will come in and they will start to dilute that vision, that purpose, I guess, that you have behind your film. Film is collaboration, so you are naturally going to get feedback. That's also not something that you can avoid. Advice and ideas are going to be thrown at you, especially when you are a first timer. If you're making a feature for the first time, that's fine, but you still need to keep your compass intact. And that's not about being a dictator. It's not about refusing suggestions or being that's not what I imagined. It's not about that. It is about being able to properly assess the challenges and really, when it's important, stand for something that has to be, and then in other places be flexible, right? But there are some times when you're going to have to stand firm in your decision and you're going to have to convince everybody that you are right. And that is part of your voice and it's part of your intent as a filmmaker. At the end of the day, I think what I ultimately want to share with you is just how important it is to remember that your film is a reflection of your experience, and so you must have your voice present. We can't be making films like other people, even if you admire other people. And you can't allow other people to change your film so much that it isn't your film anymore. And that is a difficult balance to strike, I think, especially when it's your first time making something at the scale of a feature. But I would say that it is probably one of the most important things to just sort of keep your eye on, so that you don't get so derailed that you compromise your way out of your vision. Thanks everybody. Please, I would love to hear your comments, your questions in the comments below, and we will do our best to answer those in future videos. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.